Hi everyone, it's Lee at Iridium. Hope everyone's doing okay. Thank you so much. Woke up this morning, I've hit 1,000 subscribers. Actually, I think it's at 1,010 now. What an amazing journey. And I know it sounds a bit corny that I've been on with the channel, just not expecting people to, subscribe even. When I got to 50, as you know, I was like nearly wet myself. And now I'm at just over 1,000. So thanks so much, everyone. And I'm trying to think of something special to do. But at the moment, I'm going to carry on with my A to Z of rock and metal bands. And this is looking at underrated and overlooked bands. So, bands that some people might not have heard of, some that people have, but may not have in a different country, where the music's not being reached. And that goes for this list on some of it, definitely. And I've got a lot of variation on the list. This is a cool list. So I did say at the beginning of doing this series, I'm going to try and mix it up, which I have been with Zoom calls. People can come on and talk about, their favourite underrated, overlooked bands. And the first segment is I had Darren O'Sullivan on to talk about one of his favourite bands. Here's that clip.
Okay, then I've got Darren who's going to talk about his underrated, overlooked band. Who you got in H then, mate?
I have the Canadian rockers Harem Scarum.
The sun will rise and darkness sleeps. You won't be the death of man. No, not this time. I've been pushed to the limit of broken and barely alive. I suffer for shit. I've been pushed to the limit, but I know I'm gonna survive. Now I know you won't be the death of man.
Tell me, have you ever heard of Harem Scarum, Lee? I know you might have watched the video I done on them, but have you ever heard of them?
Yes, I have. I've glimpsed over them. I've had them on a shuffle in my car. On a big shuffle we're talking about. We're talking about thousands of tunes. So in my opinion, they really go from being brilliant, but they have some not so good tracks in what I've heard. I think their catalogue might be a bit varied, put it that way.
15 albums will do that to any band, to be fair.
Yes,
as well.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So Harem Scarum, let me give you a little bit of knowledge about Harem Scarum then. So formed in 1987, but took time, as we know. It's not. This isn't the X Factor, and you get a deal. This is, they've had to do the hard slog, and didn't release their first album until 1991. So you're forming in 87. They're and at the beginning they're an AOR melodic rock band. So by the time it gets to 91, you're a little bit late to the party. So, I would say their first album. So their first album, as I said, it's an AOR really. It's heavy. It's really well regarded in the AOR community and melodic rock community. This album is effectively a masterpiece in that genre. They're still around today. So the band are the two main members are Harry Hess on lead vocals and keys, and Pete L'Esperance, who is an unbelievable guitarist. I would say definitely check him out on YouTube and with some of their live videos. They've kind of intertwined the band with different bassists and drummers over the years, but they're the two guys that write the songs, and they are Harem Scarum, them two guys. As I said, they were a little bit late to the party with their self-titled debut album. I reviewed that myself. I absolutely love it. Now, me and you in this series we done FM. I was with you for F on FM. We went through every album, went through every song. I'm not going to do that here, obviously. But what I will do is I'll kind of just give you a couple of songs to give you a flavour over the course of their career. And, if your subscribers want to go and check out a couple of them songs, or they can. So, as I said, first album. Now, man, I'm telling you now, we've talked about big hair before. We've talked about, I know we get onto the hair conversation sometimes with these bands. I promise you, you will not see bigger hair than Harry Hess in the Honestly video for It honestly was one of their big singles from their debut album, and the hair is astonishing. But anyway, outside of that, I would say from the first album, check out the song "Slowly Slipping Away."
Yeah,
it's an absolute gem, and it gives you a real flavour of what the band are about. Their second LP, though, Mood Swings, is effectively
that's the one I've heard.
Right, and I think you're gonna. I think you'll prefer this one than their first one. Yeah. They got harder. They went into a harder rock sound. 1993, Mood Swings. They consider it their definitive album. Their hardcore fans just consider it their album. And you know what I like about it as well? When I was doing a little bit of research for my review on their first album, they did say when it got around to Mood Swings, they didn't go down the grunge route. They didn't jump on that train. They stayed true to themselves. A lot of bands could probably just jumped on that grunge thing at the time.
Yep.
They stayed true to themselves and went with a harder sound for the for the Mood Swings album. On the Mood Swings record, I would check out the song "Stranger Than Love," which I think is an absolutely brilliant tune. A bit more rockier than anything you got in the first one, but pretty good tune. I'll call out a few more to you. Few other tunes to check out from their album 13 in 2013. Check out the song "Stardust." Okay. Brilliant song. From their 2017, I'll go, hey, Mark Clower's watching. I'm going to do Mark again. I have the album.
Yeah.
United from 2017. On this album, check out the song "Gravity." Really cool track, really guitar based track. And they released a new album last year. In 2020 called, I've got my notes here, "Change the World" it's called, and they brought back the two original members from the first album on drums and on bass as well. Darren Smith on drums. I can't think of the bassist's name off the top of my head, but they'd done a glossy video and everything for the lead single off, I think it was the lead single off that album, a song called "Aftershock." I think you'll really like "Aftershock," Lee. Cool. I think that it would be right up your street.
And tell us, Darren, what label are these on?
Are they Frontiers? You're going to get me there.
I think it's Frontiers. I think it's Frontiers. Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah.
Of course they are. You know.
Well, ain't they all, mate?
Ain't they all? Like we said it with FM as well, didn't we? You know, they get all these bands kind of just get mocked up by Frontiers.
Yeah. Just
the reason they're on this video is because they had the big budget, let's say, in 91. They even had the guy. Remember, did you ever see Beverly Hills Cop? You know the one of the LA cops, the sidekick. He's in the video on kind of a subplot. So they did get a little bit of money behind them, and they did get the glossy videos at the beginning. Just didn't happen for them. And but just like we said with FM, they've had a loyal a smaller fan base, but a loyal fan base that sticks by them, buys their records, and goes and sees their gigs. So they're definitely one for this series you're doing. Check out Harem Scare.
Cool. Well, you heard Darren, everyone. So people are finding a lot of new music through this, mate. So hopefully, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of them, but there will be some people that haven't as well. Definitely overlooked and underrated, though. Definitely fall in that category. So thanks for coming on, Matt.
Cheers, man. Talk to you again.
Cheers.
So the first of my underrated and overlooked bands is Heat. So a lot of people have heard of this band, Swedish. You know, if you're into that melodic hard rock stuff, they're well known, but there's a lot of people that haven't heard of them, especially probably in the US. So I know I've got a lot of subscribers from the US, so this is really for those people. 6 albums out so far. The last album in 2020 made my number 2 of the best albums of the year. And remember how many great albums were out last year, even though it was a bit quieter. What an absolutely fantastic album. Sadly, Eric Gromwell has just left the band, the lead singer. But Kenny Lacremo, who was on the first 2 albums, who's also a great singer, he's back with the band. They are just one of them bands where if you could transport them back to 1985, they would probably be millionaires, without doubt. Absolutely fantastic. Another band on Frontiers. You've got to check, if you haven't checked out Heat, They are fantastic. I'd say especially their last 4 albums have been just out of this world. Okay, my next band, Heathen. So, bit of a different direction, bit of American thrash. These are on Nuclear Blast Records. Now, they had a period where they were active from 1984 to 1993. Then they came back in 2001 and they're still going now. Only had 4 studio albums. What an amazing album they had out last year, Empire of the Blind. This would have made my 2020 list, but I was a bit of a latecomer to this band. Really melodic, similar to Testament, thrashy, but melody running all the way through it. What a great, great band. Check out Heathen. My next band, Holy Soldier. So, Christian heavy rock band, sometimes bordering on metal, from LA. Another band that took a big hiatus. So they was originally 1985 to 1997. Then they came back in 2005 to 2006 for some reunions, but no new music. So it's a bit of a shame. First album is known as a classic in the Christian heavy rock community, but it would appeal to anyone. And you know me, if it's good, it's good. It doesn't matter what, the message is, and it does to a lot of people, but to me, musically, it's absolutely fantastic. The first album for me is the best one, self-titled, 1990. That was actually brought out, and you can see what sort of band they were. Very similar to that, Striper sort of sound, but the classic Striper sound. So we're talking, To Hell with the Devil, Soldiers Under Command, that sort of sound. Very influenced by Striper, in my opinion. The sound of the band changed quite a bit later on their next few albums. They sort of, went a little bit alternative for me. It sounded a little bit alternative, in that period when these sort of bands were struggling, and you can understand it. But if you want to check out any of their albums, the first one especially, and the next one was quite cool as well, check out Holy Soldier. Next on my list, Toby Hitchcock.
This is the moment. This is when love dies. This is the last time I listen to your lies. This is the moment. Not gonna drag it out. This is the moment. Oh.
So, Frontiers. This guy sings for Pride of Lions, which is with Jim Petterick, I think that's how you pronounce his name, of Survivor, the only member of Survivor left, I think. This is proper AOR, just how you would expect it. 2 solo albums now he's brought out. Excellent voice, so powerful. So if you're into your AOR melodic rock, sometimes bordering on a heavy rock, but mainly keeping between that sort of Survivor Journey sort of thing, this guy's got an amazing voice. Check out Toby Hitchcock. Next up, a band that went away for quite a while and now they've recently come back, Hitman.
When the light is the drug that you need, but it won't reveal. And darkness is all that you see. Just remember to breathe.
So if you search for Hitman, by the way, you might get a rap band. It's not them. Look for Hitman metal band. So American power and progressive metal. You probably put them in that category. Active from 1984 to 1994. And then they came back in 2017 and they're still going now. So they sort of built up a real cult status in other countries like Germany, Japan and Greece. They only brought 2 albums out when they first were together, but they've come back recently and they brought an album out called Destroy All Humans that came out last year. And again, I missed this one, don't know how, but I did. And this would have also made my top albums, without a doubt. So Queensryche influences in there, without a doubt. Really intelligent, sort of sounding metal. Amazing band. Give this band a listen. They're going to be, you know, hopefully, I don't know how the music is these days, but hopefully they're going to be successful and people will start listening to again. Check out Hitman. Hit, H-I-T-T, by the way. All right, but put metal band in, otherwise you'll get some fucking rap crap. Man, some great bands in there that people might not have heard of, some that you might have heard of. Let me know if you have. Let me know what you think of those bands. Let me know especially if you haven't, and now you're going to check them out. That means such a lot. Let me know in the comments below. Can't wait till the next one. I'll see you soon.